Hello and welcome back to Calculus 1. This is exam 1 review, since in your infinite wisdom you voted to have the test instead of not to have the test. So here we go, right? So exam is on chapters, I don't know why it's red, chapters 1 and 2. And then I said calculations from 3.1, which is actually the same as 2.3 few exercises. So that's the focus. 10 problems. And exam is about 1 hour, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 25 minutes at most. That's, that's it. For 10 problems, 80 minutes, that's 8 minutes per problem. That's way too much, but still, right? If you were supposed to solve that quiz I showed you, right, in average 11 minutes, then the exam with 10 problems you should be able to do in 22. So let's call it 30, right? You're getting almost triple the time. Obviously, if you know stuff, it's going to fly. If you don't know stuff, you're just going to stare, and that's it. What are the topics? Well, first off, I said function. You remember that I gave you a definition of a function, and I said it's going to be on a test, and it's in your notes, and it's in the video and stuff, notes. So, all about the function, that means the definition, input, output, notation for the function is f of y equal f of x, and so on. And then we have graphing functions. Please note that the college policy is no graphing calculators on exams. You need to be able to graph. So you are looking into graphing functions by hand, and you're generally looking into the linear function, the quadratic function, the cubic function, the exponential function, the logarithmic function, the square root function, the absolute value function, the piecewise function. Right, so these are the pre-calculus topics that we just use especially for limits to find the limit and so on. Oh, 1 over x. I forgot that one. That's a biggie. So I have, I think, everything in here. Oh, where's your trig? Your sine, your cosine, right? So these are all basic functions that you guys learned and seen many times. So you should be okay there. The next one is function composition. That's the f composed with g or f of x and stuff like that. And then we have inverse. Inverse function. That's when you swap x and y, and then you compute, right, to find an inverse of a function. So that will be the first part, chapter 1. I said about 3 to 4 problems from this area. You already know that one of the questions is what is a function, right? Or definition of the function, or state the definition, whatever the wording is. So you must have something to graph, and just to play with these kind of things. Function also involves domain and range, right? So domain, definition, domain, range, right? All of those things. Then we are moving into 2.2, limits by graph or chart, table of whatever table of values. 2.3, limits by algebra. This was your canceling, rationalizing, And this is where those limits, you know, going into 3.1 right here, the limits with limit h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h, right? 2.4, infinite limits plus vertical asymptote. 2.5, limits at infinity plus horizontal asymptote plus end behavior. 2.6, continuity, which goes into point, which is the three rules. Global, which is those two theorems. And piecewise, which was that, you remember when I said that if you have 1 over x is globally discontinuous at 0, right, because x equals 0 is not defined. But then, if you look at these pieces individually, each piece is continuous on its own. So, continuity on the, we call it piecewise continuity, but it's continuity on the particular interval. And the function can be continuous or discontinuous there. So you are looking into 10 problems off of this. Now, these are all obviously list of topics. Your sample exams and practice exams and all of that stuff on my MATLAB. You are looking for post-test, and I did suggest you try that stuff today, tomorrow. Each one of those has about 20 questions. So that might take 3 hours, right, to go through if you are not, right, if you're going to take hour 20 for 10 questions, then it makes sense to take 3 hours for 22 questions or 25 questions or so. So be ready to invest time if you want to know where your skills are, to do those post tests without notes, without any of the stuff that you are not going to have at the exam, just to have a very good representation of where you stand. Those grades do not get factored into your homework or your quizzes or anything like that, so they are not recorded anywhere, those practice exam grades. So you might take those as many times as you want. So the sooner you take them, the sooner you will know where to focus, and then you can retake it maybe on Thursday or something, and see, you know, the improvement. And at that point, you would have another day to fix whatever issues. Generally, so during the exam, you just do the exam, right? No calculators, no cell phones, things like that. And when you are done, you hand in, and that's it. You can bring the water and sugar, and please bring the bladder as well. I know that some students forget the bladder on the day. It's not good. You need the bladder with you. Bring it. You go to the bathroom before and after the test, not during the test. Any questions, concerns? It's done on paper. Okay. What else? I think that's it, right? Do you have any questions, problems that you would like me to work out as the part of this review? You see something on homework that you are not familiar with, or you just want to see another example of something, you have to give me the problem, and I'll do it if I can. Everyone knows everything. I love it. This is going to be so easy. So no questions on the exam prep means only one thing. You know everything. Yes?
Here, the next one, how many trade-based questions are going to be?
In this case, probably just one problem. It's a lame exam. We'll catch up on next exams, so you won't be disappointed. Because I understand pre-calc1 is all those functions, and then pre-calc2 is all trig. So pre-calc1, pre-calc2, each one is the same length, so it makes sense that half of the problems be trig. But usually a third of a test should be trig. So unfortunately now it's not going to be as great. So maybe one problem with trig, unfortunately. But we'll catch up. We'll catch up very quickly because chapter 3, chapter 4, right, they're filled with trig, so we'll catch up. Anything else? No? Okay then. That's the review. Bye.